Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. It's the show that has nothing but respect for Big Time Tommy, a man of culture, a man of people, a man of Beyonce.
Yeah, I don't take naps at all. I've never taken a nap. Never. I can't really do more than 3 hours on a plane. I love cannolis. And I got ran over by a car in Florida. I bodyguarded Beyonce. Maybe she'll remember me, maybe she won't.
She ain't gonna remember you, cuz.
But listen, everybody remembers Big Time Tommy.
Big Time Tommy knows Beyonce.
That's facts, bro.
Kinda cool.
May we all learn to live, laugh, love like Big Time Tommy until we find some problematic tweets. Probably. All right, let's start with some hot takes. Actually, I have just one hot take, and it is maybe the most important bit of news we will ever cover here on Hard Pass. Michael Jordan is finally wearing jeans that fit him appropriately. Yes, it finally happened. No super baggy, no oddly ripped, no more acid wash goofiness that has defined Jordan's fashion style ever since he retired has made way for appropriately fitting jeans where you can actually tell he's wearing threes. It's not skinny, it's not Jinkos, it's just right. And this might be the most important moment in Jordan brand history since, well, they were called Brand Jordan. Finally, they can get MJ to wear all of the newest releases and people on Twitter won't have to play guessing games trying to figure out what he's got on. Just a beautiful day all around and something I've been waiting forever for. Wow. So E3 2021 is going on right now, along with the offshoot and possibly better alternative show, the Summer Games Fest. Not only that, this past week we got the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Phantasy Star Online 2, New Genesis, a new Ratchet & Clank, a new Guilty Gear. It's a lot, man. So we here at Hard Pass would like to present a new segment that we like to call Jacques Makes Outrageous Predictions Before the Presentations Kick Off, and then we get to watch him be horribly wrong. Wait, hold on. That's not the title of this segment. It should be more like Jacques Makes Outrageous Predictions written by his co-writer before the presentations kick off, and we get to watch co-writer be horribly wrong. Yeah, that's more like it. Number one, no Nintendo Switch Pro announcement. So by the time this goes live, it will have been almost 4.5 years since the release of the Nintendo Switch. After the disaster that was the Wii U, Nintendo needed another hit badly, and the Switch delivered. But with the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 already out, the Switch is showing its age. Rumors and leaks are plentiful that an upgraded console is on the way, but I don't think they're going to reveal it over the next few days. Why? Because they're Nintendo, that's why. They operate on their own time, do as they please, and honestly, they don't need the spectacle of E3 and Summer Games Fest. They'll reveal it on their own time, and when they do, it won't be a holiday 2021 release, but rather around the time of the Switch's 5th anniversary in 2022. Also, I hate the Switch Pro name. I also don't like calling it the new Nintendo Switch. It needs to be called the Super Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 64. Number two, we'll see Breath of the Wild 2, but no release date. The direct sequel to the blockbuster Switch launch game will be shown at Nintendo's presentation, and I think we'll be blown away by how it looks and how it plays. But I don't think we'll be getting a release date, especially if the Switch Pro doesn't get revealed. It's one or the other, unfortunately, because I think showing both will get people confused and they will assume that they need to buy the upgraded Switch to play this new game. Number three, Halo Infinite, finally. It's been a long time since we got a proper Halo game, and while I have no idea if Infinite will be good or not, I think they will make good on their 2021 promise. Not only that, it will actually arrive sooner than anyone thinks, maybe even by the end of the summer. Number four, Elden Ring will drop before the Winds of Winter. For fans of the Game of Thrones books, this might be a little painful since Arthur George R.R. Martin is consulting with From Software on the lore of the highly anticipated game. I bet that Elden Ring will show up this year and get a release date that could be later this year or next year or even 2023. Whenever it is, it will arrive before the planned Winds of Winter and no one will be happy. Except people who are hyped for Elden Ring, I guess. I doubt I'll ever play this game if we're being totally honest. Number five, Cyberpunk 2077 gets a massive update. The update, it will be available on the PlayStation Network. It's not the update that I think we were all hoping for, like it'll actually be a good game now, but maybe they fixed enough bugs and updated it now to the point where it's actually playable on the PS4 now. Number six, NBA 2K22 cover star is Trae Young. Based on what? Nothing really. There's a rumor out that Dirk Nowitzki might be the cover athlete of the Legends editions of the game, but if there's anybody right now who is capturing the NBA zeitgeist, it's Trey DeBarge. Shout out to Bomani Jones for that reference though. Number 7, Gears 6 gets a teaser. Gears developer The Coalition, well, they recently announced that they will be moving development of their next games to Unreal Engine 5. I'm not sure what that actually means, but my co-writer says it's good, so cool, I guess. However, while that means we won't actually be getting Gears 6 this year or maybe even next year, but I bet we get some sort of teaser that reveals what could be next for Kate and Marcus and sorry, that's a spoiler from the ending of Gears 5. Oh well, just bleep that out, Preezy. It'll be fine. Number 8, Resident Evil 1 Remake. Again, Resident Evil 4 is one of the greatest games of all time, period. It's also primed to get the remake treatment since we've seen Capcom go back to the well and remake Resident Evil 2 and 3. However, I believe we'll actually get yet another remake of Resident Evil 1 that's exclusive to this generation of consoles. So for those keeping score, Resident Evil 1 came out in 1996, got a remake in 2002, and got an HD version of that remake in 2015. This one will be built from scratch like the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3. And then number 9, Grand Theft Auto number 6, baby! Just kidding. Rockstar is definitely working on GTA 6, but they're making so much money from GTA 5 Online, we're more likely to get a Red Dead 3 or Bully 2 announcement before GTA 6. Man, you'll be able to use Bitcoin and trade NFTs in GTA 5 Online before we get a GTA 6 announcement. And then number 10, E3 2022 will happen in person, and then it's over. If you've ever been to E3, you've no doubt seen the signs at the Los Angeles Convention Center that invite you to come back for the following year's show. Here's the thing. Before the pandemic, there was a lot of hand-wringing and real talk about E3 2019 being the last E3. Granted, that didn't end up being the case because E3 2020 was going to happen before the pandemic shut it down, but the problem with E3 2020 was that if it did happen, it was not going to have Sony for the second straight year, and Microsoft was technically next door at their own theater in LA Live. E3 2022 will come back and it will be huge because everybody will want to get back to doing in-person events. But without Sony and Microsoft, it'll just renew talks, and I think we'll finally come to the realization that nobody actually likes going to these big old conventions and that everything can just be shown digitally and we'll still be hyped. It's the Heat Check, where we bring you everything that's dropping this week, which isn't a lot for some reason. It's like somebody decided to take a break this week or drop stuff that was delayed. We have the Ambush Nike Dunk High Deep Royal on 15th for $180. This collab is a tribute to Japanese bike, car, and truck culture, which sounds like a lot for a sneaker that has Chicago 1 color blocking. I'll take Ambush's Yoon Ah's word for it. We have the Bodega New Balance 990 V3 on the 16th for $220. The Boston retailer is celebrating its 15th anniversary this year, and one of the kicks they've got on deck is this earth tone take on the favorite silhouette, the 990 V3. Not gonna lie, it always trips me up when I see New Balance sneakers that break the $200 price point, even though the craftsmanship kinda justifies it. We have the Air Total Max Up-Tempo in white green on the 17th for $170. After a retro a few weeks ago that brought back the white and navy OG, we're getting a basically green version that is perfect for the Celtics or Sonics throwback jerseys. We have the Dunk Low Dusty Olive on the 17th for $110. This new colorway is inspired by the 2001 Japan exclusive Ugly Duckling Pack, which also got a retro last year. This slight price bump is justified by the upgraded materials used for the upper. And then for our pick of the week is the PlayStation Nike PG5 PS5 on the 17th for $120. Just kidding. No way this would be our pick of the week. It's just slow. That's all. Now for a heat check on Dak Prescott signing a deal with Jordan Brand. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Prescott is now the latest and only quarterback on Jordan Brand, which would signal the end of my beloved Jimmy Garoppolo's time with the Jumpman. The deal will also make him the only Dallas Cowboy on the roster, and in a factoid that I'm sure some people care about, he will also be the NFL player with the highest paying contract. Not sure I ever wondered who among Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, or Russell Westbrook had the biggest bag, but whatever. So, as many of you might know from watching the show, I am a fan of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'm not going to come on here and tell you that I know everything there is to know about our current team, other than hopefully we have drafted the right quarterback in Trey Lance to lead us into the future. What I will say is that as a Niners fan, I have an irrational disdain for the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you know how Stephen A. Smith loves to antagonize Cowboys fans with a passion? I have all those videos on YouTube bookmarked whenever I need a pick-me-up from a rough day of unboxings. I cannot stand the Cowboys. And at the same time, I have nothing but love and respect for guys like Michael Irvin and, well, Michael Irvin because he's hilarious and he's from the University of Miami, aka the U. However, as a professional sneaker journalist, a totally made-up title that has little to no meaning, I feel an obligation to argue both sides of this move. It's one of the times we can use the phrase both sides and your phone doesn't explode from angry replies on Twitter. Anyways, Let me tell you why signing Dak Prescott is a huge move for Jordan Brand. A 5-year deal means that Michael Jordan and company see a great deal of potential with Dak. He plays the most important and most visible position for one of the most popular teams in the unquestioned top sport in America. We can talk about Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady all we want, but if Dak Prescott were to win a Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys, it would be the most hyped and covered championship of all time. The only thing that could top it is if the New York Knicks were ever to win a championship, a franchise with its own, unique fan base. And the possibility and the hope is what Jordan Brand signed up for. We haven't seen a Jordan Brand signature shoe for a football player since Randy Moss had the Jordan Super Freak or the Jordan Mossified. We probably won't see it this season either, but I would not be surprised if Jordan Brand had something more planned for Dak than just wearing Air Jordan Retro football cleats. Not that there's anything wrong with those retros. As a matter of fact, some of the most popular cleats in the NFL today are modified Jordans retrofitted with spikes. Plenty of Jordan Brand football stars wear the Air Jordan 1 or the 9 or the 11. But Dak has a chance to be something special, and if Jordan Brand were to make a Jordan Dak one, I think it would be a huge seller for the brand. You just know every bandwagon Cowboy fan would instantly replace their Air Jordan 13 Flints with Dak's shoe as the official shoe of the team. With a roster that looks like it has a chance to once again do damage in the postseason, I feel like Jordan Brand has got themselves a winner in Dak Prescott. But now, the hating ass hater argument. Man, Jordan Brand messed up when they signed Dak to a deal. First of all, why did they ditch my guy Jimmy G? I mean, why would you let go of a quarterback who just led his team to a Super Bowl less than 2 years ago? Sure, he might not be more than a glorified system quarterback, but he's still the Niners starting QB until Trey Lance is NFL ready. That could be a season or two. So yeah, I'm shocked Jordan Brand didn't hang on to Jimmy G. Secondly, why would any brand put their faith in the Dallas Cowboys? They haven't won since Michael Jordan retired the first time, and yet their fans act like they're the 17-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers, and their owner has convinced everybody to trust their process for 3 decades now. A process that he is heavily involved in, and he produced jack. Even though my team hasn't won a ring since 1995, at least they've made it back to the Super Bowl twice in that span and contended and gotten close for longer stretches. And while I am mildly excited that Jordan Brand might finally be considering making a signature trainer for Dak, it's totally possible that none of this could work out. In fact, I would say it's more likely it won't work out because it's the Cowboys. All hype and no results. America has been fooled into thinking this is America's team when really all the Cowboys have represented for over 25 years are overinflated expectations, bumbling mediocrity, and hilarious postseason failures. But look, ESPN, their owner cares so much. He has his own radio show. Look at how big his stadium is and blah, blah, blah. If this was European soccer, the Cowboys would have been suffered the indignation of relegation at least a few times by now. Sure, it's possible my Niners would be in the same boat during the mid-2000s, but that's neither here nor there. And that's why I feel bad for Dak. He's a talented quarterback for sure, definitely in the top 10, but I would not put him in the same class as Mahomes, Jackson, Rodgers, and Brady. But because he plays for the Cowboys, there's this unfair burden placed upon him that is far from deserved. If Dak were playing for a different team, like the Chargers, or the Dolphins, or even the Patriots, this Jordan Brand deal would be way more exciting to me. They actually have interesting color palettes compared to the Cowboys' lame-ass white and blue, and they're in the AFC, so I don't think I have to worry about them unless they make it to the Super Bowl. No offense to Dak, but if Jordan Brand had given the bag to another high-profile QB without a big-time deal like, say, Lamar or Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray or even rookie Trevor Lawrence, I would be like 10 times more pumped for this deal. But nope, they had to give it to a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. I really hope I haven't jinxed us this coming season. I give Dak Prescott getting a huge Jordan Brand deal 10 Jordan Super Freaks out of 10 Jordan Mossifies. I give Jordan Brand signing a Dallas Cowboys quarterback 3 Tony Romo choke jobs out of 10 Michael Irvin touchdown celebrations. It's time for this week's Hard Pass, where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like the signature athlete and designer relationship. So this past week, we got our first official look at the Nike LeBron 19, the shoes that LeBron James will be wearing when he teams up with Bugs and Lola Bunny and the rest of the Toon Squad to take on the Goon Squad in Space Jam: A New Legacy. Maybe it's because I live for this stuff and it's kind of part of the job, but I was super curious to find out what sneakers we would see on the feet of LeBron in the movie. I mean, James and the cast filmed Space Jam in the summer of 2019, so it had to be either the LeBron 17 or the LeBron 18, right? And since we did get Space Jam themed colorways of the LeBron 17 that James debuted during the 2020 All-Star Game, my guess was that those were the shoes we would see in the movie. Wrong. Nike had more surprises up their sleeves, so imagine my shock to learn that it would be the LeBron 19. It turns out, in the summer of 2019, when James had just finished using the Nike LeBron 16, he was already wearing the LeBron 19 for a movie that would release in 2021. That timeline is more confusing than whatever sacred timeline Marvel has come up with in Loki to make that practically worthless. Usually, we're further out in the calendar year before we get a look at LeBron's latest signature shoes. So it's a little early in the timeline, but I get it. They have a movie they want to sell, so of course you want the shoes to be ready by then. Now, while I have my own personal thoughts on the shoe, which I will withhold until I get my hands and feet on a pair for a proper unboxing, I thought it would be interesting to talk about the response to the shoes on sneaker Twitter. So, it wasn't a show on the level of Chef Curry's or PG whatevers, but it was not positive. In fact, this might be the most vocal I have ever heard people talk about Nike LeBrons in a negative light since the debacle when James wouldn't wear the LeBron 11s nearly a decade ago. Sure, there's always chatter whenever a new signature model comes out, but this hit different. My guess is a lot of it has to do with the movie. You see, Space Jam is like a triggering agent to a certain segment of the population, namely people between the ages of 25 to 40. To people with a critical eye, Space Jam was an average animated movie that featured Michael Jordan, Bill Murray in green screen, and well, Michael Jordan and Bill Murray in green screen. It wasn't a cinematic masterpiece by any means, but it holds a special place in the hearts of millennials. And there's also the soundtrack, but we won't talk about that. That Monica song? Absolute banger, and cheesy prom night slow jam if there ever was one. Not that I would know, I went to prom and they were playing BTS. Anyways, I think the thought on sneaker Twitter that crystallized the feeling behind the Nike LeBron 19 was this one from my guy Russ Bingston. In his tweet, he says that the whole LeBron line really needs a reboot, and no disrespect to Jason Petrie, who really revitalized the line when he started working on it, a new design lead. There's a lot to parse from that tweet. Jason Petrie has been credited with breathing new life to LeBron's signature line, starting with the Nike LeBron 7. It's inarguable that the LeBron 7 was the breakout shoe for James in the same way that the Air Jordan 3 was for Michael Jordan and the Nike Zoom Kobe 4 was for the late Kobe Bryant. And that success continued with the Nike LeBron 8, 9, and 10. But ever since then, it's been hit or miss. But is it a shoe that I can wear casually? Probably not. Now, you might be saying there's not a point there and we are past the era when basketball shoes had to also be shoes you could rock off the court. I could see why people would say that. Nowadays, instead of wearing the latest LeBrons or KDs or Jordans, they wear Dunks and Retros. Well, newsflash, those are basketball shoes back in the days and they worked both on and off the court. It feels a lot like the criticisms of the current NBA, where we are so focused on the data and efficiency that we might be losing the things that make the game fun. Maybe Petrie and everybody at Nike is so focused on making the bleeding edge basketball shoe that they have lost the thread a little bit and haven't taken the time to consider that kids might want to rock their LeBrons off the court instead of taking L's on the sneakers app when they try to buy Dunks. And maybe the best way to do that is to have Petrie move on to other projects. Like, 13 signature shoes is a hell of a run. Tinker Hatfield in his initial run with the Air Jordan was from the Air Jordan 3 to the 15. And we love the 3s, but looking at the 15 now and Petrie's work on the LeBron 19, and it's like, maybe it's time for a break. I know we sneakerheads who are deep in the weeds love to romanticize the relationship between the lead designer and the signature shoe athlete. Think Tinker and MJ, Kobe and Eric Abar, Kevin Durant and Leo Chang, and of course LeBron and Petrie. Maybe it's time we looked at the designer of these signatures as like we look at comic book writers and artists. Gone are the days of Jack Kirby and John Romita Jr., who worked on a particular title for years and even decades in some cases. Now we get writers and artists who go on a run of several issues before moving on to the next project. Like, I think it would be interesting if Leo Chang and Jason Petrie switched roles and Leo designed LeBrons for a few years and Jason took a shot at KD's for a while. Maybe Tinker takes on the Kyrie line for 2 years. Like, I know Derrick Rose had a collaboration with Jeremy Scott a few years back and now has something in the works with Kanye West and the Yeezy line, but what if the Yeezy brand were in control of all of Adidas basketball for like a year? That would make for some interesting and gaudy looking basketball shoes, but it would get all of us hyped to see what a Harden Volume Yeezy or a Don Issue Yeezy would look like. Sometimes people can be so invested and so in deep with a project that they don't see what's working and what isn't. But show it to someone else and they can come up with a solution just like that. So I'm not advocating for taking Jason Petrie off the LeBron line, especially if LeBron is adamant of having Jason on board. But maybe, just maybe, letting someone else take the lead would not be the worst idea in the world. All right. And that's going to do it for the show today. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before I show you a cat's worst nightmare. I'll see you next week. Peace.